What's up, everybody? It is Comic Conversation, and we are finally back. And Chris, right at the buzzer. I can't believe we're finally live, 2019, and here we are with a new year. Fresh. It's been a while since we did a show, and excited to start this new year. So figured we would do something really cool. And actually invite Chris here. So nice, nice of you to pop in right on cue. Hey, Chris is from Mad Cave Studios. We're going to talk a lot about that. I'm really excited to get into that with you. I know you guys had a really cool 2018, some breakthrough, in terms of like diamonds. I want to get to that, but also some really good stuff, in terms of 2019. So really exciting things on the horizon. So we'll get into all that. Just so you know, Justin. Justin is Exile State Comics. He's also managing editor for comicbook.com.
Okay.
Justin, this is Chris.
Hey, good to meet you.
Hey.
And then we also have another Chris here, so not to confuse things. Boston Chris Comics. Okay. And we do have a live chat as well. So if there's any questions that come through for you, definitely field those to you and ask you. So very cool. Thank you for joining us, by the way. I know you're probably busy. It's the evening.
No. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and he's just so you guys know, a fellow Floridian as well. So, Mad Cave Studios is headquartered in Miami. So that's about what 20 miles or so from here, from Broward County.
From Broward, yeah.
Yeah. So cool. All right, so we have Beyond the Blast Doors in the chat as well. He's saying hello. Also, Jackie O Comics, Splash Page, there's a bunch of people rolling in. So if you guys have any questions, definitely let us know. Comments if you read any of their titles. I want to share those stories as well. So for those who don't know, do you want to kind of jump into just kind of like what Mad Cave Studios is? The titles, that type of thing.
Yeah, no worries. Mad Cave Studios. It's we built ourselves as a independent publisher built on madness. Sort of these crazy ideas with sort of genre stories, and sort of like playing with these different genres and bending them in certain different ways. And our three titles that we released in 2018 were Battlecats, which is sort of a medieval fantasy, sort of like Thundercats meets D&D.
Right.
Sort of thing. Midnight Task Force is our schizophrenic detective sort of cyberpunk story. And we just released Knights of the Golden Sun this December, which is our like big biblical epic sort of take alternate history.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you have them coming up too. I don't know if you want to talk about that right now or
And the one we have announced for February actually is Honor and Curse, which is a supernatural shinobi story.
Right, very cool. And that's an 18-part maxi series, I believe, right? It's 18 parts.
It's every one of our Battlecats, Knights and Honor and Curse are sort of 3 volumes.
Okay.
Sort of like 5 or 6 each volume, so it's sort of around that range. And Midnight is going to be 2 volumes, and so that's going to conclude in like 5 issues.
Oh, okay, cool. I know that I've seen for Battlecats, I've seen the trade paperback out, so I know that one's out. Is it going to be?
The trade paperback for Battlecats and Midnight are out.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
They come out. We sort of do the initial sort of arc, and then we come out with the trade paperback a month or 2 after.
Okay. All right, that's cool. That's a good strategy because it looks like Mark, right? Mark London, he's the founder.
Mark London.
Yeah, he's writing. CEO. Yeah, he does a lot of things. Right? He's writing all these, right? So it's kind of hard to find time to write so many titles. So I imagine his day must be super busy.
His day is super busy. That's something we wanted to do just for us starting out in 2018. It was sort of his brainchild, this sort of thing. And with Diamond getting this push, so we were just like, all right, let's just have books we already have with Mark. And then in 2019, we really want to branch out and expand. And we already have plans for multiple books this year with different writers and different artists that are not just in-house.
Yeah. Okay, very cool. And one of the big wins for you guys for 2018 was partnership with Diamond, right? Diamond Distributors.
Nice.
Yes, because we were for the past 4 years. We've been around for about four years, and that was all through like going cons, local selling our books
Right.
by ourselves. And then just in 2018, we got Diamond Publishing, and so we now anyone can order our books.
That's awesome, right?
Yeah. Any comic shop, you just go to them and say, "Hey, we're in previews."
Exactly.
Like,
Here's the Diamond ID, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're very big on, small independent publishers, also like local, local art
Mhm.
scene, local comic book scene. That's obviously something you can really kind of, dive deep into when you're, in one region, but in terms of the creative team as well, but your audience. But once you hit Diamond, you just hit nationwide all of a sudden, right? It's like a big explosion.
There's a certain thing where like, oh, we have to print how many books? Okay,
Yeah.
that's new. Oh, like when we go to cons, it's not us like telling you. There's actually people there that are like, oh yeah, like I ordered your books, and it's like, oh okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
Thank
you. You guys were at New York Comic Con, right? This past year?
Yes. Yeah. Last year we went to New York, Chicago, and Seattle, and we're actually going to be back in Seattle for Emerald City this in March again.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And out there, even you're finding people like picking up your titles, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
even out there, like in New York, it was our biggest con by far, and we had multiple people like, yeah, like we got because it was our third time actually going to New York. So we already had people from there, but we also had new people. They're like, "Oh yeah, we saw you you Midtown had your books," and we're like, "Oh, that's
awesome,
cool, awesome."
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah,
and this year, as we're talking about cons, this year we plan to go to. We already have definitely like 6 locked in. We're not ready. In the following month, we're actually going to announce our con schedule, and yeah, we're definitely going to double the amount of cons we're going to this year.
Okay, very cool. Hopefully, and I know you probably can't announce it, but hopefully one of them is SuperCon. That's the big one down here. So,
yeah, there's certain things.
Yeah.
I can't announce anything, but
I understand.
We plan to go to more and explore. And obviously, since it's local, it's easier. But we'll see.
Right. You want to expand your footprint, so yeah.
Yeah.
All right, very cool. So I know that a lot of people here, and as well, I've seen them, people on YouTube do a lot of haul videos and stuff. So I've seen this come up quite a bit, but kind of, I would say it's the flagship title, I guess, is Battlecats.
Yes,
right?
That's our first, the first series we announced. It's from like 4 years back. It's always been the one that's resonated with people the most.
Right.
And that was our flagship title.
Yeah,
even though now Knights is like getting a lot of traction, which is it was surprising to us. Just seeing how like the speculative market is even taking off for Knights, and it's very strange for us.
Yeah, you're like, really? Yeah, that's cool. So issue 2 came out in December, right? You have issue 3 coming out in January, in a week or two, right? Issue 3?
It's issue 3 actually comes out next week.
Next week, okay, very cool.
Issue 3 because issue 2 actually came last week, but because there was sort of a printer delay, and with the holidays, it just sort of happened to that it happened that way. So we actually have basically in the span of 2 weeks, 2 books come out, but that one's on pace to do good, really well too. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so next week you can get Knights of the Golden Sun number 3.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Kind of going back to Battlecats. I know. I think I watched something with you, and you kind of described it this way, but it's kind of like Arthurian Thundercats, right? Like kind of like I think you said it was D&D. And Thundercats kind of combined. I was thinking more like Thundercats from Westeros, Game of Thrones. But
it's always kind of that way. The way Mark's main inspiration was those Arthurian legends,
right?
And sort of he loves like old Saturday morning cartoons and that sort of feel to it too, but a little more darker. So that Game of Thrones vibe, as you're saying. And I always describe it like on the cons. I'd say it's like Thundercats meets D&D. because I'm a
Yeah,
huge D&D nerd.
exactly. Yeah.
So that's what like resonated with me when I first picked it up. I was like, oh yeah, this is like D&D. Like these are all the classes. They're going on this quest, and like that's what resonates with me, and that's what I feel resonates with other people, and it makes sense in
Yeah,
other people's head
exactly.
that way.
Yeah, it kind of clicks, right? When you can
Yeah.
visualize it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm hoping, I know that there's, the first volume. I'm hoping he continues with that. Mark, what I'm
Oh,
referring to,
well,
because it's such like a
yeah.
deep, rich world that there's so much there to explore. Sure, they did this one mission. The king sent them on, this mission. But I hope that gets like kind of. I hope there's a lot more to it. Basically, is what I'm saying.
Oh, there
Yeah.
there is so much. This first volume was sort of like dipping our toes in this like one little quest, and volume two is coming. It's actually coming in May
Oh, wow. Okay.
this year.
Cool.
Yeah, since we're like releasing more than double like the amount of books this year.
Wow.
We're,
Yeah.
yeah, we're sort of ramping up our release schedule and
And that
everything.
goes
So
back
yeah,
to what you were saying. Like, we need how many books, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Basically,
Like, per run of what?
there's gonna be moments in previews where we're gonna have 3 books solicited, like a month.
Oh, wow.
Or there's gonna be some months where we're gonna have like 3 books solicited, and then that's like huge for us. And so we're all like, "Oh, that's a lot of marketing and a lot of books to print. That's
Yeah.
gonna be." And I guess I never told you guys what I do at back. I'm the communications and digital media manager, so that means I do these appearances. I manage all the social media accounts. I I like just do marketing and different and ads, and basically I'm just the person. If you're talking to Mad Cave on social media or any digital media, it's probably me. It's
Okay.
most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's going to give you a lot more work to do, right? Yeah.
Yeah, my schedule is a little packed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's with the cons coming up too. I'm sure you're on the road for that too. So,
and I'm on the road for cons and like going
yeah.
to we just actually hired a new retailer liaison, so that's a different part that's actually going to be taken care of now. But I still go to retailers sometimes to take pictures and just talk to the managers to see how, because the number one thing really retailers want to know is A, are your books going to be here on time if I order, and
Oh,
B,
right.
how are you going to help me sell these books once they're here. And that we've always been big about shouting at the retailer whenever they order books, even if they haven't. Like, we're always about supporting these local comic shops because they're the lifeblood of our industry, and if it isn't for
Right.
them, like, what are we going to do?
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
So we've always been great friends, retailers, and it's all our jobs to help them out.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, I've seen your books at a couple of the local shops. We do have Brian B here. He works at Phil's Comic Shop, which is in Margate.
Yeah.
So I would maybe reach out to him and see if you can. I don't know if the books are there, but definitely it's a great shop, great community. Be a really cool place to have your books in. So.
Oh no, for sure. That we're always looking out. It's like, especially in Florida, we've always been looking out for our retailers. Since we're in Miami, we're like concentrating on that most of the time. But for sure, like we've always, yeah. I will tell Manny. He's a retailer guy. I will tell him. I got it.
Yep. Okay, cool. Phil's
Noted.
Comic Shop. Yep, there you go.
It was comics.
Yeah. All right. Very cool. Yeah, and with Battlecats, it's such good company. It's anthropomorphic, right? And there's so many cool things like Ninja Turtles, Usagi Yojimbo. You got Mouse Guard and Saga, Mouse. Art Spiegelman's book. So it's a really good company. That's such a cool subgenre to be in. So there's a lot of people that look specifically for those books. So
Yeah, that's we. Oh no, you can go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, and so there's that, and then you take like Midnight Task Force, which is like sci-fi, and then these other books. So it's really cool that you have these very like specific and different flavors and genres for these books, I like that somebody can go and one person might want the fantasy adventure, one person might like the sci-fi, one person might like something set in a biblical time, right? And you can get all that with Mad Cave, so that's really cool to me.
No, and that's something we set out from the beginning, making these distinctly genre, like these genre-specific books that have this niche carved out that are resonate with people, that make people like. There's these certain like the cyberpunk detective story, like that's it's a genre in itself, but we put our own twist, like the schizophrenia and sort of the mental health aspect, and sort of how these characters interact, and that's how we play around. But it's still sandwiched in this genre that's comfortable to people, but that we try to shake up a bit.
Right. Kind of like, with that, it's Aiden, right? It's really cool that he has that mental illness and he's able to use that to his advantage, right? So that's really cool twist on that.
Our main character Aiden McCormick, he was a veteran who actually got wounded in the war, and sort of when he comes back home, he sort of develops from PTSD and sort of different factors to sort of schizophrenia of like old teammates of his that died, and so they help him basically solve these crimes. And the book is all about this one huge serial killer case that he's working on, and how it like affects him in certain different ways, how he has to like call for help even though like that's the one thing he doesn't want to do.
Right.
And it's that's Midnight, and that's 4 issues out right now, and it's available now.
Awesome. It's highly recommend it. It's a really cool read. One of the things that's really striking to me, if you hold the book or you're looking through it, you're reading it, is it's kind of you kind of compare it to like a Marvel book. You pick it up, it's got like the light cover. It's the same like cover weight, cover stock is like the interior, unless it's like a premium book. But it just feels like quality, right? It just feels like you're holding something of quality. And then the other thing, I'm a very visual person. I think Chris and I have talked about Boston Chris, I should say, have talked about that a couple of times. It's just like the visual nature of the book, and especially with Battlecats. One of the things that was really striking to me was the coloring that was done on it. It was just very, very striking and vivid and vibrant, and that was it really stood out to me as something that I really liked about the book, the quality look and the feel of that, and then just that visual aspect that jumped out at me. So I thought that was really cool.
Well, again, like comics, as much as the writer is sort of usually praised about this, like it's a visual medium that needs this artistic vision to carry the storytelling. That's something we've always pushed for. This, whether it's a colorist or artist, we wanted to have the best quality as possible. And so what you're saying with even the paper quality, like you can tell quality when you're picking up something, and when you pick it up and you're like, oh, okay, this is not quality, and that affects the way you're reading, and that affects sort of how you perceive the story in its own way. And we all know comic book people, they like their quality, and they're sticklers for it. So we always we got some of the best printer. We got the best printing company, and we care about that stuff because our readers care about it, and we care about it, and so it should be important.
Yeah, definitely, without doubt. There, I just had a question. I mean, as a a newer publisher, as you continue to grow and things like that, how do you go about like finding new artists or colorists or things like that? I mean, is there like I don't even know, like how do you do that based upon like people submitting to you? Do you guys like go out and look for things online and try to reach out to artists? Like how does that work?
Well, that's a great question, because we this past summer we actually hosted like a talent search basically, and we asked our community and we basically asked our community and artists and writers who follow us to submit work to us, and from that we actually hired 6 writers and 5 artists to come in, basically do a book with us. So there's now 5 or 6 projects from that. Actually, just this year, there's going to actually be projects from that talent search that are going to be released through Mad Cave.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's that's sort of how we found these new, because again, like Mark was writing all these books, and like Mark's a fantastic writer, but we want more voices, more different voices, and sort of more stories being told, and
Right,
Mark can write all the books.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of hinders your growth if one guy's shouldering all of the stories.
For sure. And
Yeah, gets to a point where you know can only do so much in a day, right?
you can only do so much. And so just through this talent search, part of my job is actually finding new artists through social media and new writers. I was actually looking for colors today through different media, through social media, and because that's hi child. But yeah, like just today, like I was looking for colors because we're looking for this, and we're looking for different artists all the time. Right, currently we don't have submissions up, but we plan to do another talent search during the summer again, looking for more writers and artists, or making that call there. And yeah, I honestly, like, I'm always on social media, and if I see something that I'm like, okay, that art is spectacular, or anything like that, I usually bring it up. I usually bring it up in meetings and different things, and just like that's one way to get your art seen.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Do you, because I know there's a couple different approaches here. There's like the traditional sort of bullpen, collaboration style where everybody's local and you kind of meet in an office. And then we've talked to a bunch of other publishers, creative teams, and a lot of them are just in different parts of the country, really, or in different countries. So what are you looking like more for people that could actually come into an office and kind of like work in a studio, or are you reaching out to people that can collaborate, digitally and, email, files back and forth type of thing?
I mean, that's just the way the world is now. It's so easy for anyone to send us art or send us scripts or do anything. Actually, our like in-house, we actually have an office in Colombia, where all our artists are, actually, or our in-house artists are.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because that's sort of like Mark sort of had that approach, and he had like ties and roots there, so he wanted that to be a part of the company as well.
Yeah.
And we found very talented people there who were, we found all of the artists so far are from that office and in-house in Colombia. And with those talented people, we sort of grew. They grew their own stuff, and so we're just building that. And the talent search is mainly that of like reaching out and expanding our views, and expanding the voices that we use and different things. And we got people from all over the country, some from around the world, actually, that are doing very good stuff. There's some pages and some scripts that come through my desk, and I'm just like, wow, there's some good stuff coming.
That's awesome. That's so cool. That's like, that always fascinates me. Like, you always think about like the old, like, the Stanley bulletin type of thing, this traditional, like everyone's in a boiler room type of thing, working. But now it's just anybody can work with anybody, and you could be anywhere in the world. It's so cool. And I'm sure, I don't know, do you take like, do you do portfolio reviews and stuff, when you go to these conventions, or?
A lot of the time, yeah, if Mark is there, or Chris Renee. There's another Chris who works for us. Surprise, surprise. There's so many Chris's in the world. Yeah. They come.
I didn't see you at the meeting, but I know we have the monthly meetings and stuff. So
I guess I missed it this time.
Speaking of meetings, have you gotten to go down to Colombia yet? I don't know if you're in Bogota or where, but
I haven't because I actually joined the company just like with Diamond, like with
Oh, okay.
sort of like pushing this thing with Diamond. But most of the company has it, and yeah, it's just the sort of like we're more of a family now at this point, and yeah, like if as far as portfolio reviews, yeah, at cons, if Chris Fernandez, he's our sort of like strategic officer. He sort of like manages day-to-day activity and manages communication between the Columbia's office as well.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
he's sort of second in command, like, sort of in at least in the Miami office, and he's at cons, and if like either Mark or him are at cons, they do portfolio reviews when they have the time. Usually at cons, we're just like super swamped
I
and are
bet.
just
Yeah.
running around with heads cut off like all the time. Like, oh, we have to go to FedEx for this thing. Or it's like across the street. Okay, cool. Like, it's just a madhouse every time we go to cons. But we usually have time to, always time for fans and always time for people who are, those were us at one point. We're
Right.
always looking to get new and exciting voices all the time. So, we're here. We're here to give everyone a shot.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's good. Good to know. Yeah, you can really tell the people who are in it just kind of for the money or the people who just really love comics and love the art form, it really shows and, interactions or just in the end result itself. Chad, he's in our live chat. He says, Mad Cave is super hype right now. So that's cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's that's a lot has to do with Knights. Knights has been really like taking off.
Yeah.
Something that is very surprising to a lot of us. So we thought, again, like the quality sort of speaks for itself. We like to think so. We like to think our books are, they stand up on the shelves with any professional work.
Yeah.
But the amount of like sort of the speculative nature of it, how people have taken to the stories, and how people have loved this book, it has sort of surprised us in that sense.
Right.
More of the comic book market, less of like the consumer market. It's really new and different to us, but we're all for it. I mean, it's a part of the industry and it's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So you have, I know we mentioned this before, but you have 2 books coming out in the space of a couple of weeks. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
When I think it's February, right? Honor and Curse comes out.
Yes.
So,
yeah. February. I believe I can give you that. It's like 23rd, I believe.
Okay.
I think it's the 3rd Wednesday of February. Honor and Curse.
Okay. Cool.
Comes out. Yeah. And now we're pushing for a big release for Honor and Curse.
Yeah. Okay, we have a question. I'm going to get back to that in a second, but we do have a question for you. This is from Brian B. He says, being in Miami, have you had any conversations with Jose Varese from Creature Entertainment? He's a great artist and a nice guy, and a collaboration with him could be cool and also localized. Are you familiar with Jose Varese?
Yeah, we're familiar with Creature. We've always, even starting out like a couple years ago, we've been in talks with Creature a lot. And it's sort of like we're not a collaboration would be great, but it's sort of like we're sort of trying to make our own like impact first and seeing, how far this can get or what we can do on our own before like joining up with people and different stuff like that. Like we're friends. Like we talked to cons that we've met. We saw them in New York. And yeah, they're basically at like almost every con we go to, so we always say hi.
Yeah.
And
I always have a big booth.
Always say what's up. Yeah, we always say what's up to them, and yeah, we're being local, and yeah, we're good friends.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I know that a lot of people they'll collaborate. Maybe they'll just be like a cover artist for a while, and then maybe bring someone on. But it's a cool way to kind of like he said, just collaborate with some local folks, and that's some sort of cross pollination there. They have their audience, you have your audience, and it's a good way to kind of bring those two together. So February 20th. is what's showing in Diamond.
February 20th it is then.
Yeah. Okay. It's official. Yeah. So it's feudal Japan, right? Martial arts, kind of the supernatural flair to it as well, from what I gather. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah. That's what it's a martial arts or shinobi story of this orphan who basically gets taken in by this ninja clan that raises him to become a man and to be like the head shinobi as soon as they find his talents. And there's actually a romance, a sort of hidden forbidden romance in there that's new to like our series and something that we're exploring with this. And yeah, and the artists Nicholas Salamanca and Takino is a colorist. They kill it on this book. There's some preview pages up on our website now if you guys want to go check it out. It looks incredible.
Awesome. And Chad here in the chat, he goes, Shinobis, and he goes, the art looks so good. So he agrees with you on that. So that's cool. That's good. Yeah. So anybody who's, been reading, and like I said, it's gotten a lot of steam and a lot of visibility lately with Knights of the Golden Sun. If you're reading that, if you're a fan of that, if you liked it, if your friends have been talking about it, this will also be something really cool to check out. Again, different sort of subgenre, but it's going to bring you that same level of awesomeness that Knights did. So does. That'll be coming out in, what did we say? February? Yeah.
February 20th.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. And the other thing I want to ask you was, what was I going to ask you? Oh, is there any, I know a lot of companies do this and some make a point not to, but is there any way to, and it would be very difficult because they're different, like, Knights is set, it's not biblical per se, but it's set in that time frame, right? And then you have like Midnight, which is I think what 2055, is that the right year? It's in the future. Yeah. So it would be hard to do this, but is there any way to kind of like make it that it's ultimately like this one large shared universe that spans eons? I don't know how that would work.
As soon as you explained it, I was like, I know this question because we get it more frequently than you might think.
Okay.
We're all comic book fans.
That's where our minds go.
Yeah, my favorite book crossed over with my other favorite book.
that is what comic books like when people think comic books, I think that's like one of the first things people think of is this huge universe with all these different characters and different books crossing over. I can tell you there has been talks of certain books and definitely like future books that we have that might not necessarily crossover, but maybe like have different nods or like some winks. That's something Mark has actually like as soon as he started and started making comics and gotten these questions, he started like, people like this and respond to this, but we didn't want to do it just because just be like, oh, like here's Battlecats that they're in basically a different planet in like whatever fictional universe. Oh, they're here now in Detroit. That's weird.
Yeah, right.
We didn't want to do it because it's a little like disingenuous, at least so how we feel with our storytelling. But there have been talks of like Midnight, and sort of since that's like an easy sort of like cyberpunk future to like fill in some things. There's definitely like no like right now current yes or no answer to that. It's more of like maybe we'll see.
Okay.
Maybe
it would have to be more kind of organic and make sense for the story, not just like a gimmicky thing, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And like after this year when we have definitely way more books out and more different titles and different genres, there might be some places we can play around with stuff. But as of right now, there's no current shared universe, though it would be fun.
That would be fun. Just got to be careful. Like, I don't know if you would do like each one's like its own like your own multiverse, like each one's in its own universe, but you would kind of run into your own crisis eventually.
Oh, okay. If I get Mark to do a one shot of that, That'll probably be my life goal at this point. Like,
Yeah.
hey, do a one shot where all these guys just meet up and do a little adventure. We'll see.
That would be cool. Yeah. So okay, cool. And where you said Diamond, what should folks go with? Let's say they wanted to, pick up any of these books, go to their shop, obviously. Should they say, pull this from Diamond, or how should they, make sure that they can get the books in their hands?
Well, to make it easier on the retailers, probably go to previewsworld.com, then look up Mad Cave Studios. That'll show like what we have available at that certain month. But if like in case of Knights, there's been a lot of people who missed the boat out on one and need to go back, and then they're on back order on with Diamond. Okay. So at that point, like always talk to your retailer, see what they can do, and we always tell fans or something like talk to your retailer, and then like tell them to contact us, or if you like contact like us on social media with retailer name, we usually get in contact with them, see if we can get some issues out to them, because we always order extra for this sort of reason of sending to retailers who missed the boat, and want to get more fans in, or have fans that are interested but they can't really justify buying number 4 and then they don't have 1, 2, and 3. Right. Sort of how the system works. So, but we always work with them and work with retailers. We work with multiple retailers now directly, and we ship out packages almost every day with comics.
Nice. We have another question for you here from Chad. He says, and this might be tough for you to answer. What's your favorite Mad Cave title, or the one that you'd recommend the most?
That is my favorite. My favorite is probably Honor and Curse, but I can't recommend. Well, I could probably recommend that since it's coming out, I guess, next month. But it's currently coming out. Probably Knights. I like Knights a lot. It's very epic in scale, and art's fantastic, and sort of has these different themes. I think the villain is like very good. Like I'm a fan of very good villains. Mm-hmm. And very like captivating and strong villains, and there's this very captivating, like strong villain in Knights that I really enjoy. But Honor and Curse, I love that art style.
Yeah, for sure.
So those two I would recommend personally.
Okay, cool. Yeah, there's a thing, I don't paraphrasing, but a hero is only as good as his villains, right?
Yeah.
So, and the other thing, actually, you know what I want to do for these folks here we have with us for a volume 1. Did that turn on? No, it didn't. Saw a flash. Volume 1 trade paperback for Battlecats. I want to do a giveaway for that. So I have that book. I'll do the giveaway. The question that first person to answer that's in the chat is, what year was Mad Cave Studios founded? First person to answer that will win that trade paperback for Battlecats. So let's see. So people are looking it up, right? You have any questions for Chris? Chris?
Well, the crossover question got answered.
Okay.
Let's see. Actually, yeah, I was, curious, having Diamond and everything like that. Has there been any project that you've gotten that, is really good, but might be a little bit, I guess, as far as like scale and the team involved is concerned, that might be a little bit intimidating to put out with having, the deadline with Diamond and everything like that?
So you're asking, you broke up a little bit, but you're asking if we had a project that sort of like in-house that was like a little bit too much to put out
across that might be just, as far as like meeting monthly deadline with just the scope of the project is like, maybe put that off for a little bit, or figure out, maybe put that off until you've established yourself a little better and you can kind of get a little bit more wiggle room with Diamond and everything like that.
That's part of the reason why we sort of only had 3 books release this year. That's sort of the reason why we wanted to pace ourselves and see how Diamond works, how does shipping work, we wanted to nail down these areas before we actually was like, okay, we need to ship. We have actually 2 books releasing out this month, and how we're gonna do that? Like we're in a mad crunch, so that's why we built in sort of like we did a slower start than we originally planned. We originally planned like a really much faster start, but it's sort of like we wanted to actually to grow, and so the scale of the project really, I guess we're in our original business model, we're not like going for like ongoings in the sense of like, oh, this book is going to run for 20 months straight or something. So we built in not to have those issues. And as far as that scale, maybe later on when like we have 2 or 3 years in can, and we can be like, okay, let's actually do this ongoing thing instead of taking like these little hiatuses between arcs.
Okay.
But currently that was like already planned in our sort of business model to be like, okay, we're gonna do Battlecats for the 6 months and then take a little hiatus. Take out a little hiatus of Battlecats and then get a different team working on Midnight. These are different we're playing closer to that since we have multiple teams working on multiple different books simultaneously, so we can get like closer release dates. So we're definitely planning on pushing our limits here in this next month. I mean, basically in this next month we're releasing 2 books, and the following year where we're gonna have multiple books out in different months, and yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, awesome. And can you explain cave dwellers to these folks?
Oh, cave dwellers is sort of our colloquial term, I guess, for like our fans. It's sort of like the mad cave. We call like anything about us like the cave. So cave dwellers, sort of our term for sort of our fans and readership.
Cool. It's catchy. I like it.
We're fans of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So Chad said 2015.
2000. No,
It's close, but
no.
Yeah, it's close.
Oh, it is very close.
Keep researching.
Yeah.
It's a very quick Google search.
Yeah. Yeah. So the question, if you just joined us, what year was Mad Cave Studios founded? Chad was very close.
It was very close.
Yeah.
Maybe off by 1 or 2 years or something.
Exactly. But close.
I'll be right back. I need to get my charger. I quickly
Okay. Okay. So, okay, very cool. Yep. So giveaway will be for Volume 1 trade paperback for Battlecats. It's called, what's it called? It's called The Hunt for the Dire Beast. It collects Battlecats 1 through 5. And that will be yours if you get the answer. So go ahead and leave that in the comment section.
We have a guest
Mo.
from.
We have a guest from Mo.
Mo said 2014.
2014 winner.
That's it.
Congratulations, Mo.
Mo. Very cool. So Mo, go ahead and reach out to me through here if you want. I have Jesse at jlscomics.com if you want to send me an email with your information, and I'll make sure that gets out to you. So congratulations to Mo. It is 2014, so very cool. It's awesome that a studio has gone from 2014, it was a few years ago, to where you are now. It's such a large climb in just a few years. So kudos to you guys for all that, really. So it's really cool. Is there anything that you want to kind of leave with folks, or kind of shout out or plug or tease even before I let you go here?
No, just it would make my job easier if you guys follow us on madcavestudios.com and sort of like engage. We have a very like engaged community. If you guys want to join that, we always answer fans and different stuff. And yeah, Honor and Curse is coming out. Like I announced, like Battlecats Volume 2. If you're like Mo here, and it's gonna get a Volume 1.
That's right.
Follow up of Volume 2. It's definitely different from Volume 1, and we have more in-depth sort of character stuff and different consequences that show up. So yeah.
Awesome. All right, very cool. Well, thank you for being here. This will be up tomorrow on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play. It'll be out there where everybody streams their favorite podcast from. So you can check it out there. Definitely check them out, like you said. Chad says you're the man. So there you go. And thank you for joining us. It's been really cool. I love talking about the books. It's awesome that you guys are local. So we always, like I said in the beginning, love to support local. And great things to come. You guys had an awesome 2018. 2019 looks like it's going to be even better for you guys. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes for you. So very cool.
Thank you guys for having me. This was a good time.
Yeah. Right, very
Thanks
cool.
so much for coming on.
Thanks for joining.
All
right.
Pleasure's mine, guys.
All right. Thanks. Have a good night.
Good night, guys.
All right, awesome. Well, that was cool to have Chris join. All right. The Battlecats, man, that's such a cool book. Like I said, it's like Thundercats if it was set in like you said, Dungeons and Dragons / Thundercats. How cool does that sound? Right.
Like I had read it, and it in a way reminded me somewhat if you crossed over completely, but like with kind of He-Man and Thundercats together. That's the impression I got from it, and it was really, really cool. Good art style, good story. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool. So and it was kind of different, as far as what it is that you're getting versus what's out there right now, and like you said, anthropomorphic comics and stuff like that. There's a bunch of different ones, but it's definitely up there. I mean, if you like that type of genre, it's definitely worth checking out. So
right,
really
exactly. And like I said earlier, it's in such good company, right? Mouse, Turtle, Shaggy,
Turtles. Yeah, absolutely.
Mouse Guard.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
And what's another kind of funny thing about that is their positioning. Just because I do that new comic books list all the time, they're positioned right before Marvel.
Oh right, yeah.
So like if you're just scrolling, and you're hitting like DC, you got to slow down to get to Marvel. You're gonna see them right before you get to Amazing Spider-Man or whatever's coming out that week. So it's good placement, good name. Like Todd McFarlane did with Spawn. Name it so it'd be right beside Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's like the old phone booth strategy of calling yourself like AAA. Whatever.
A1.
Yeah, exactly right. I read an interview that Mark London did. He's the founder. He's the writer of all these books. In terms of the costume designs for this, says it took it from King Arthur, Howard, meaning Robert E. Howard's Conan, Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, and even Lewis's Narnia. So a lot of that inspiration and styling for it came from those types of books, which I would argue are absolute classics.
Oh yeah.
So cool. So we talked about what's 2019 for them. I want to know what's up for you guys for 2019. Maybe in terms of collecting, like what are you looking forward to? But are there any books or events coming up, or even movies that you kind of hyped about for 2019?
I don't know. Are there any movies coming out? I don't think so.
Oh, there's tons. There's Glass. Yeah, Glass is coming out really soon.
Yeah, I've been checking out. I've actually, because of the trailer from Glass, I missed Split. I never saw it, and I'm kind of just like checking out little clips here and there of it. And it does seem like a pretty cool movie that I'd like to watch, and just to get kind of familiar with that character, and you know, everything about him, just because I know from I've watched the trailer a couple of times, and it's just like, you know, the main character in it, it is just, you know, like McAvoy, he just is all these different people inside of one head, and you know, most famously, I guess, you know, the Beast is the one that sticks out the most, you know, because I think like that's where the movie really just kind of like, you know, goes crazy. But you know, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Like, I think I would have to see Split first, just to kind of, because I've seen Unbreakable. I like Unbreakable.
Yeah, it'll make sense for you. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I think I'm seeing it next Tuesday. But I don't know if it'll make that much sense without seeing Split first, because you won't know who that character is, or you know what's going on. So
that's what I'm afraid of. Because it's like, oh yeah,
I thought he was just playing Sybil.
I'm sorry.
I thought he was just playing Sybil.
Yeah. Like, I just worry that, you know, and that's my whole worry with that movie, because I feel like it could be pretty good. I mean, I like how you know, they went ahead and you know, Samuel L. Jackson is right back to being Mr. Glass, but Mr. Glass seems more sinister than before.
yeah,
He knows,
because it wasn't until the end of Unbreakable that he figured out who he was, that he was the villain, that he needed to be the villain. You know,
Well, I thought that. See, I thought that he had always, because was it Bruce Willis found out that he was the villain at the end, but like, it almost seems like in a way, he was sad that that his friendship with Bruce Willis had to end, and he said, you know, after he touched him, he was just like, you know, he's like, don't you understand? The children told me when I was like a little kid. He's like, they always called me Mr. Glass. So like, you know, I guess
the name made him be evil.
Pretty much, yeah. Like he knew he was going to be evil because they always called him Mr. Glass, and then it was just like he.
If they called me Magical Unicorn, I wouldn't be evil anymore.
yeah.
Pretty much, but you know, he just, you know, you're right though. Like, I mean, he embraces it so much more, and it just seems like, you know, it's funny just because like how the trailers have set it up really well, and I know that in terms of, you know, the other movies that are kind of like, you know, within that genre, because this isn't necessarily a comic book movie. It is it's a sci-fi movie that, you know, they try to base into a comic book world that doesn't fully exist in you know, print and everything like that. But they've done a really good job building it up, and they haven't oversaturated it. They haven't done anything to really make it you know, to the point where it's annoyingly like overplayed. So I'm looking forward to it. I think that's a good. I think it's going to be a good movie and a good, you know, holdover until, you know, the bigger you know, comic movies come out. I still haven't seen Aquaman yet either. I know that I've heard good things. But I just haven't had a chance to go out and do it. Like just for me, I mean, I haven't made a video in a while just because of the fact that I've been so busy, both with like personal stuff and professional stuff, and it's just like I mean, all good things, but it's just, you know, just been so busy all at once. So it's just, you know, just getting back into, you know, having a moment to go ahead and, you know, do some things is going to be fun. But, you know, looking forward to Glass and a few other movies, Captain Marvel, of course, you know, Endgame, and then just as far as, you know, collecting and everything, just kind of getting my top 10 together and trying to just figure out, you know, how I'm going to go about some of those books. I think for myself, I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach in certain ways, just because there's some books that I really want to own, but they're, you know, some of them are getting more pricey and things like that. So might be time to kind of, you know, just cut down on some other things and then just kind of focus straight on those books. But we'll see.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to say because once you're there and it's just like, oh, like this is only like this much. Oh, you're having 2 for 1 today. All right.
Exactly.
You know, it's a hard thing to do, but you know, just kind of for me for this year, it's just a lot of new stuff coming my way. So I'm just, you know, looking into that and just kind of trying to, you know, navigate that as best I can, and then, you know, hopefully get settled in and find a new groove, I guess I could say, which would be cool. So, you know, so for me, I'm just kind of I'm just kind of moving my way through, which is kind of fun. But for now, just trying to catch back up with everything that I've been kind of just sitting on going forward. So
I hear you. Yeah. So cool. Okay. Well, I'll be looking forward to. I don't know if you're gonna make a video or not, but
oh yeah, no,
announcing what your top 10 is gonna be.
I have a
So,
couple of different
yeah.
videos I gotta make just because I'm behind. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I have stuff from December that I have to show, and then just my 2019 list and stuff like that. So it's just
Yeah.
like there's a few different videos that are gonna be coming my way. I just gotta find some time to just block out a chunk and say, all right, here we go. So
Yeah. Exactly. So okay, cool. How about you, Justin? What are you looking? What's your 2019 look like?
Yeah, I mean, well, movies is pretty easy. If it's a comic book movie, I'm probably excited to see it. That's just how easy it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, Chris, when you get a chance, man, definitely go see Aquaman.
yeah, I almost all right. So this is gonna be this is gonna be kind of sad to admit, sort of. But I mean, it overall wasn't a bad movie. But so my wife and I met up with a couple of friends, and it was funny because initially I thought we were going to see Mary Poppins, and that was it. And then they throw in like, oh well, we could also see Aquaman. So I'm like, Aquaman's on the table, awesome. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to kind of angle it in to see Aquaman, and then everything kind of didn't work out. So we saw Mary Poppins, and I was just like, okay, So I was really hoping and angling to see Aquaman just because it just looks really good, and it just I've heard so many positive things that I'm actually really wanting to go in and actually get a chance to see it. So hopefully before it's out of theaters, I'll be able to go ahead and see it. Once I get the time. I mean, the toughest part is with the baby and everything, just finding someone to watch her and all the rest. So but for now, just kind of admiring from afar and just liking what I'm hearing. So
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I won't say anything, but you should see it.
Yeah.
I will see it at some point. I swear.
The one that I haven't seen that I still need to go see is Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh my God, dude, you got to see it. It is so good.
Yeah, I know. I've seen like bits and little pieces, but I need to go to the theater and actually watch the movie. It's drawn me in too much.
It's already won an award or two.
Yeah, I saw that.
Animation, yeah.
But yeah, and then collecting wise, what's coming up this year, man? I have no clue. No clue. A lot of Silver Age. I think I'm just gonna go heavy Silver Age this year.
Yeah.
I've cut back modern books a good bit. As far as new comic book day stuff, I'm still trying to keep that as, I don't know, as not out of control as it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just trying to be picky about what I don't I want to pick up stuff that I really intend to read, that I'm really interested in knowing what's going on in the story, versus oh, this might be okay. No, let's figure it out first before we throw down, because there's cons that pop up every once in a while. There's all these great auctions going on. Everybody's been having these great auctions lately, so just want to be open to some finishing out some collections. I think would be my big thing this year, or at least getting close to some of them.
Yeah, it's tough. Like you guys said, you go to a con or a sale at your shop, and it's 50 cents for dollar books, and there's this mini series that maybe you would pick up and trade, but there's issue 2 and issue 5 for 50 cents. And then once you have those, it's well, I want to buy the single issues now. So
yeah, that was my last video I did. What was it 2 weeks ago now, guys? Sorry, everybody. Maybe it was last week. I don't know. But it was one of those kind of deals where I walked into a Second Charles, and they were having their sale of buy 5 get 5 free.
Oh, yeah.
So
even on the exclusives, right?
Comic books.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hey, you walk out with 30, but you only paid for 15 of them, so it's okay. Yeah. But I mean, it's days like that I pretty much finished out that Nova run. So from Dan Abnett and Annie Lanning.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you come across those. I mean, so you always got to be open to that stuff. I guess the only thing you can control is New Comic Book Day.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I agree with you too. I mean, when it comes to that, like I know myself, like when I say I changed up my approach is just, kind of like what Justin's saying is just kind of trying to find books that, I really want, whether it's just one I've wanted for a long time or just something I've always really wanted to read. Like I can tell you right now, a series that I actually kind of, have started to kind of get into. And I've always liked the covers and I've always kind of like been curious, but Tomb of Dracula, I did, because I don't have issue number 1. I did read it online and I was like, wow, this is really good. And I think I read like the first 4 issues. And I mean, like, as it starts off, I mean, I don't know how it goes, towards how it gets towards the end, but in the very beginning of that series, it was really, really good. So it's just like, I'd like to get some of those, and then, just a bunch of other, there's a few other Bronze Age books I want to get. And, the toughest part is trying to cut out some of these new comic book day stuff. Cause it's just like, some of those are good too. Some of those are good and fun. And they've been, I mean, I can think of, Batman, I've been on Batman since issue number 1. And it's just like, but now we're up to 62, which is like, Batman and Flash. I mean, it's just like, it's a lot. It's just like, I mean, thinking about that, it's just like, every title, that you pick up, it's just like, however long you stay onto it, usually it's not ultra long for me, but it's just like, that's when I've been on for a long time. And it's just like, you start thinking it's like 62 issues at, was it like $3 or $4 a piece? Like that's, it's a pretty good book that I could have bought if I wasn't picking those up, you know what I mean? Saving that money up. So it's just like, those are, that's where it gets kind of tough. It's just being like, yeah, I'm not going to pick up anything new. I'm just going to wait and see and hope. And I think part of the other struggle with that is that instant gratification. Like, new comic book day, new stuff's there. You're going to just be able to pick it up. Whereas if you go to a shop, it's just like, all right, and I'm going to pick up Tomb of Dracula stuff. Awesome. It's like, yeah, they're not going to have a bunch of those issues there. It's just like, shit, I wanted to go and get these, but maybe they don't have any. Maybe they're out of them. Maybe they, and it's just like
10 up on the wall. That's a key issue.
Yeah, well, it's just like, if it's not up on the wall or whatever, it's just like, all right, so now you're there, and it's like, I came specifically to try to pick up some stuff from here, and I can't, so it's just like going home empty-handed. I think a lot of people would sometimes be like, yeah, I'll pick up a new book, and at least I can get something to read on the, at some point. So it's just like, it's very tough to cut out the new books. I applaud Justin for being able to do it. If I mean, as much as you cut down as as possible, I applaud you, just because I mean, sometimes they do a very good job of telling a story and getting everybody into it, and then it's just like, to walk away from a book, really, it takes a lot. Like, they have to like change over teams. So it's like, okay, I'm not liking where this is going, I'm dropping it.
Yeah, I hear you guys on that, financial aspect, but there's something to be said about kind of that, I don't want to call it the ritual, but you go to the shop and hang out, chat, say hi to the folks there,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That type of thing. It's cool.
Absolutely. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm still going every Wednesday.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
Last Wednesday I walked in there and walked out with a single-digit issue of Avengers.
Nice.
Whoops. Whoops. But it was on the counter. They just bought a collection, and that was sitting on the counter, and I was like, what's up with this Avengers that's single digits? And they're like, well, this is what we're going to ask, but for you, we'll give it to you for this price.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to that kind of familiarity and friendship with my shop.
You got to be that way with your owner, man.
Oh no, I'm trying. Like, the girl who manages the store that I go to, like, it seems like everybody else, she's, and I'm not mean to her. Like, me and her are really cool, but it's just like,
I'm not mean to her.
No. It just seems like when it comes down to it, she's like, she was telling me all about some dude that was from out of town that was buying up all these, wall books and this and that. And she's like, I gave him a pretty good discount and this. I'm like, you don't give me a discount. I've been coming here for like the last 15 years, lady. Like, what's up with this? And she's like, well, when you intend on buying a lot, I'm like, don't get me started on how much I have to pay in this.
No. But no, Chris, that's like, my shop's not going to give me a deal on like any new books or any.
No, I'm not talking about new books. I'm talking about the same ones.
I only get a deal on a book if it's above $50.
No, well, I get that, and that's what I'm saying. Like, there's some books that I've been like, okay, like, let me, and it's just like I had to use, whatever gift cards and stuff I have to kind of like knock the price down a little bit. And, or if it's like, oh, we're having a, such and such % off of wall books. It's like, I have to like remind her like, hey, listen, it's supposed to be 25% off wall books. Remember that? Oh, yeah. That's right. Like, I should have to remind you. Some dude out of town just came in, Mr. Loyalty, walks in the door. And you're, no open arms, just kind of like, hey, how you doing? No, you're paying full price for this. Like, he's going on a plane tomorrow.
Yeah. You'll never see him again. What the hell?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, it's I like. It's funny though, because like I think that's kind of a thing that some shop owners will intend to do from time to time. If there's someone new that's buying a lot of stuff, they tend to like kind of like knock the price down a little bit for them. So I hope that they come back, because I've also been a recipient of that when I'm go to like some of the further out shops in Massachusetts. They're like, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, and then all of a sudden, like I'll add it up in my head and I'll notice that like, oh, like you took 15% off. Cool. All right, I have to come back here again. So it happens. Just I would just like it to happen at my shop so I don't have to travel as far.
Exactly right.
But
there. So
that's my thing though. Like I mean, just going off on this for just another second. Like when I go into the shop, if I want to look at an older book, or if I got like an older book in mind that I want, and my shop owner's not there, I just don't even ask about it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna. Because nobody else would give me the deal or wouldn't even think about it.
The decision maker there.
Yeah, he's the one that can do it. So, like, you got to find that person, I guess, sometimes in some shops. But
yeah.
Well, the fun part too is just that when you do get in there, you can just strike up conversations with just about anybody sometimes, and it is fun to kind of find that person and be like, oh yeah, and all of a sudden it's just like, yeah, let me go ahead and no, don't worry about it. Like I've had a couple of times where it's like, oh no, don't worry about this one. Like we'll just throw this one in. I'm like, awesome, So it's just those type of deals. Always love to get them. But as far as the ritual and all that jazz, I also firmly believe it. I like to do it. I just feel like I guess at certain points you just kind of reevaluate, and then everyone goes in cycles. So one cycle will be like, I'm just buying everything that comes out new. I love it. And then next cycle will probably be like, yeah, I'm gonna scale back and get a few of these other books that I like right now. So I mean, there's people that come to my shop and don't deal with anything having to do with like new books. They just go right for the dollar bins, and they're just like, no, dude, I'm paying $1 for these books here. Like this is just good stories in there. And I mean, they're not worried about the condition. They just walk right in, get themselves, for $10, get themselves 10 books, and just walk out, and they're just happy as anything. They do the same thing every single week. Just get new books out of the dollar bin. And like I don't care about the condition. I just want to read a good story. And they hope to kind of pick up either a run, or if not, just pick up just something along the same lines. It's like, yeah, no, I was reading the Nam last week, and I picked up this G.I. Joe just because war comic, something close. So
yeah. Who Dad has a question for you guys. No, for me, I guess too. How do you feel about moving books or keys to be able to acquire grails? And he mentions 15 versus Thor, obviously, too, is a big one.
I mean,
the mystery.
That's a tough one. I could say for myself. I mean, I know in certain cases it depends. It depends on those books. I mean,
for me, I would say absolutely go ahead and do it. We always talk about like, quote unquote, the flippers. Those are the people that aren't really in the hobby. They don't really care about the books. They're in it for kind of the money and stuff. And maybe they do like to read in that, but it's more about in terms of that flipping.
Yeah.
About the money. If you're moving books to be able to acquire a grail or something that you really want or have always wanted, that doesn't tell me that you're doing it for the money. You're doing it for that other book. And that's still like kind of like the love of the hobby type of thing. So in that regard, absolutely go ahead and do that all day. If that's going to help you get something else that you couldn't otherwise get, that's awesome.
Well, I think that's kind of part of my reassessment as well, because it's like when I look at my collection, I mean, I have a bunch of books, but it's just like there's plenty of them that I could part with and be like, what, and nothing super special, but it's just like, what, if I can throw it up on either eBay, Instagram, whatever, and move them for whatever, however much, and build up, a PayPal. So it's just like, oh yeah, this book
Right.
that costs $300, now I can afford it. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
I see nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I just
Absolutely.
think that, if you're moving, and I know sometimes, you have to end up moving a book that, has some value sometimes, just because, you're looking at a book, let's say, for example, Fantastic Four, 48. It's just like, you're not going to move that, with $2 and $3 books. I mean, by the time you get it, it's going to go up, way up higher than what it was before. So it's just like, sometimes, yeah, maybe you have to sell a few, of your bigger books and stuff. So it's just like, I guess sometimes you can come at a crossroads depending on what you're trying to do. But then again, I mean, how much, depending on how much that book means to you. Like, I mean, if I had enough good stuff to move in order to get a Fantastic Four 48, and that was it for me, why not? I mean, just because I can sit there and say, hey, this is it. I mean, at some
So
point,
wait, is that on your 2019 list?
no,
Okay.
not at all. I can't afford that. Like, and if I hit the lottery, yes, but
That's on the lottery list. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's it's pretty crazy. It's just like I mean, it's crazy to think that some books that people want us are just super expensive, and they just keep going up. And I mean, I just use 48 as an example. I mean, for me, it would end up being Iron Man 55. I mean, at some point, I want to get that book. I don't think right now is the time. So, but I feel like it's within the next maybe like 5 years or so, maybe it'll be it won't be growing as fast as it is right now, and I can go ahead and say, okay, let me
Yeah.
pull sales together and see what I can do to get an affordable copy of that book that I'll be satisfied with it for myself. I mean, I think that's what it all comes down to. It's just if you can find one that it makes you happy to have it. I mean, if you're happy with just having the book regardless of condition,
Right.
and you can get a low
Doesn't matter
grade
the
one,
value or whatever. Yeah, just happy to have it.
yeah. Yeah.
Brian brings up an interesting point here too. He says if you move $1,100 books to get one $10,000 book, and something happens where you need money, because we all know life happens, right?
Yeah.
The $100 books are likely a lot easier to sell than the $10,000 book, and I absolutely agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
The target, audience, so to speak, for a $10,000 book is so
Oh, yeah.
small, So
Yeah, it's small and specialized, and you're gonna have to like, and no matter what, you're gonna end up taking a bath on that one. I mean, I can speak from not my own experience, but a friend of my uncle had an amazing collection. I mean, he was a kid at the time when all the Amazing Fantasy 15 and all that stuff was coming out, so he had it, and for whatever reason, he just was smart about keeping his stuff in good shape. So he ended up getting older and had all this stuff just kind of hanging out, and he ended up having some health issues and went to shops to go ahead and try to make some money to pay off some medical bills, and got absolutely demolished. And it's sad too, because I mean, he came, I want to say it was around like 2001 when, I mean, if he had been able to hold on to some of that stuff, I mean, he would be fine right now. I mean, if his health held up and he was able to, I mean, he would have been selling things left and right and just getting paid. But I guess he got like really like, just taken for a lot, where it's just like, I mean,
well, I mean, that's anything you take to a shop. I mean,
yeah. Oh no.
I mean,
at a shop, you're looking at like 10 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the whole shop aspect of it. I'm just saying in general, like, but like, what I mean is just that at the time that he was looking to do it, at the time that it was, he needed it. eBay wasn't quite what it is now. Like there weren't as many avenues, so just so it does suck, because I mean, he was walking up with all these awesome books. I mean, I saw the first store. I remember he put a bunch of the stuff in my uncle's garage at one point, and he was just like, if you want to read this stuff, I just like, no. I remember flipping through, and I was like, anytime you want to read it, just go ahead. I was like, no, I'm not touching it. I was 13. I was like, I'm not touching any of them. I just like put the covers. That's it. I knew better. I knew any sort of rip, anything happened to it, I was gonna get destroyed. I was like, not for me. But I mean, it's just speaking to Brian's point though too, it's just like that in itself is going to be one of those things where you may have a $10,000 book and someone's going to give you the most like $2,000 for it, just because that's what they have at the time, or just they're not looking to drop that kind of money on it. So
or they know you're in a situation where you're desperate for some money, and they're gonna
exactly. And that's the thing. Like, I mean, I don't know if that also speaks to the fact of desperation, where it's just like, no, I'm selling a $10,000 book. Someone probably, I mean, in the back of people's heads, they're probably like, why are you selling something so valuable? Like you probably need something. And it's just like, I mean, unless you're going to like a heritage auction or something where like you're gonna have people there that like buy those type of things. If you're trying to just sell it on like Craigslist, like there's no way you're gonna get 10,000.
Oh God, no. Yeah, and the fees on a $10,000 book on eBay,
No, at that point, I'm like, that's not going. Don't even
Instagram raffle.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay, so I got to answer my own question. In terms of 2019 for me, one thing I'm actually really looking forward to is finding out about the Three Jokers. Jeff Johns is going to be writing that coming out in a couple months, I guess. I don't know the exact date, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. And we're talking about Polis and stuff. Batman, I can't quit Batman, or Spider-Man even. It's been a really fun read for me, and the Otley stuff. So just continuing along with that, and I'm going to focus on. I know we all say this, and you guys said it too, but really focus on trying to pick up some keys and trading in some of my like less valued runs, I guess you could say, for the trade or the collected edition of it. It's going to take up less space, kind of like nicer on the shelf, and then with that sell off, I can put towards those keys I was looking for.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my strategy there. I have a few books I'm going for, but this year I don't think I'm going to do like an announced kind of top 10 list.
Oh.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's mysterious. No, but 2018, the only book that I wanted, the one that I announced was Hulk 181. And you know what happened like a month or two after I announced it? That's when the freaking price just skyrocketed. And I could get it. It's not like I couldn't. I'm choosing not to because I know what the price was a year ago versus now. And I'm like, no, so, so I have some books in mind. Like I'll say one. I want to get NYX3, right? First X23. So that's one on my list. But kind of really focusing on keys, narrowing down some of my collection to, flip those into some trades and something that has a little bit more shelf appeal versus white box appeal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And honestly, like the one of the first things that will sober you up as far as having a whole bunch of boxes and stuff is if you have to move. If you have to move, oh my God, like that's the first thing that will get you like to be like, holy shit, I have too much. I need to get rid of some because I mean,
yeah,
it's not so bad in the beginning, but then it's just like after like your fourth short box, you're like, oh my God, this is heavy.
Yeah,
and it's just like, and then you look and it's like, I have like 20 more short boxes. Great.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, because the short boxes won't get you. But like, I mean, you can deal with them. That's not so bad. It's just like, but those long boxes, man, my God, they don't. I mean, you look at them like, oh yeah, no, this is great. That's why like sometimes when I look at collections and like 24 long boxes, I'm like, really? Wow. Like
that's
I know exactly why you're selling those, and I know why you're saying, oh, local pickup only. It's just like you got to rent a U-Haul to get those things home. It's like,
that's why I just bought 2 of the big file cabinets.
Yeah.
Like the big wide ones,
you did? That's cool.
It's like, well,
got to go pick them up tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought about that myself, but I do feel that way too. I think that it's fun to pick up books. It's fun to have a lot of stuff, but yeah, I think that graphic novels, in certain cases too, you will end up finding better deals. If you, especially like stores like Barnes and Noble, they always have like buy 2 get 1. I'm just like, that's easy enough.
Exactly right.
Especially on newer stores.
Stock trades is awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just, it's fun.
And if you're like, and this seems like it's a rare thing, but if you're like a reader, like if you actually read the books, it's a lot less like worrisome. Like if you have, the 9/8 or whatever, but if you get a trade, you don't mind cracking that open and reading the story. So
That and you don't mind letting one of your friends flip through it.
Right. Very true.
Like,
yeah.
You should read this book or check this out, and you could like hand it to them. Whereas like a book, you're like, you can look over my shoulder as I open this page. And show it
That's
to you.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So
40 long boxes and 20 short. See,
I'm with you, Jackie. I'm with you,
that's
brother.
so rough, man. 40 long boxes. It's just like after a while, you start crying. Like, my God, what have I done?
Chris, I moved in August. It was horrible.
Yeah,
I gotta move again soon. It's gonna be horrible.
it's just it's so rough. It's just like, oh my God, like all these, and I mean,
Well, no, the worst is you can't fit them all on one trip of anything. So
No.
it's like 19 trips just to move your comic books.
exactly.
and the thing that is kind of, when you start to look at it too, it's just like, when you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just, get rid of all these. It's like, yeah, and like, I mean, there's some stuff that people want. There's a lot of stuff people don't, though. You just sit there and be like, oh my God. And at some point you do get a little hopeless and be like, I'm just gonna donate a bunch of these to the library. Be like, hey guys, I have a bunch of books that I don't care about. Here you go. Go ahead and like read these.
Yep. Exactly.
Not because
I
love
don't
them.
know. My thing with that though is like I bought the book, I wanted it at some point. Someone else wants it.
Yeah.
Like you just got to take your time and find that person.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, I don't know. I just think that's all part of it, and it does kind of. I guess you do kind of come full circle with it, and at one point or another, you're like, yeah, I gotta sell some of this stuff. That's the way it is.
Yeah,
Not because it's financially strapped or anything. It's just need to get some better stuff that I want to. I'm looking for these books, and unfortunately, these ones cost more, and I have to get rid of a bunch. So.
Well, and I think that's just how it goes with a collection. If you're into something, if you're moving forward with it, then the collection itself is always going to be evolving into something. It's always going to change. Your interest on something's going to change. You're going to pick something up and decide you really didn't like that run. You might as well get rid of it. I mean, it's always going to be that thing. But we just got to be mindful, like we've just been talking about, is not becoming like hoarders. Like if you've got stuff you don't want, move it and get stuff you do want. You know what I'm saying? That's what we should be in. Like, there's tons of books in everybody's long boxes that all of us need for something. You know what I'm saying? That's why all these auctions are always so great, because you'll find a couple issues here and there of something that you need, or you can go on an auction and like give some get a run to somebody that they needed or something like that. So
right, exactly. And I'm tying into kind of like why I don't want to do a top 10 list this year is exactly that. Like you go through the year, and whether it's like a movie or somebody says something on a show or one of your friends, or something catches your eye at the shop, or reading an article, you suddenly have an interest. Like it changes. Suddenly you want to collect this run, or suddenly you want to go after that key, and that changes, at least for me, like pretty regularly throughout the year.
Well, yeah.
So what I'm interested in right now is most likely going to be, with it, obviously exceptions. There's things that I've been kind of going after for a while, but by and large, that's going to be completely different, or largely different than 6 months from now, or at the end of the year, when I'm ready to see how I did on the list. So
right,
it kind of like, it's almost like I feel like it's holding me back if I do a list. Because throughout the year, when those interests do change, I'm going to be like, oh, my list, I should still get, so I don't want to like hold myself back on that. But,
that key collector app, I mean, if you did the, subscription to it and everything, and you get the updates, I mean, that'll have you chasing stuff all day, because it's just like, oh, this is and that. What's going on?
True.
I got a subscription to it just because of digging through long boxes at cons or at Second Charles or wherever it was, or half price books. It's too handy.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, there are random stuff on there that they don't have, but by and far they have a majority of anything you could be flipping through and find.
It's like the first appearance of like Batman's belt with the buckles instead of the strap. It's like, really?
I mean, I tell you all, and thing changes on a moment's notice. It's like all of a sudden, like, they mentioned this guy's coming. It's like, oh, wow. I mean, so it's just like when you are looking to do those purges and stuff, I mean, something like that does help, because it's just like, oh, I have this in my box. I can just, all right, I know what's going on eBay right now. It's just
Right.
like, you know, so
There's some sort of like key element to it you can add to it to help move it a little bit quicker, you know?
yeah. So I mean, I think that that is gonna be kind of where I go with it and everything. I know that it is kind of funny because like my first like like little jump into it, there's a lot that goes into selling those books, and there's a lot that like anybody who's into selling comics, I mean, and does it regularly. I mean, it's not so much, oh yeah, just gonna sell this off, and like, I mean, there's a bunch of different stuff that goes into it. That's just like, wow, like I gotta make sure like all the deadlines and everything that you get to hit to get everything else. It's just like,
Yeah.
I mean, I commend the people that do it on a weekly or whatever it is basis. So it's just like, yeah, I'm selling all these stuff. It's just like, wow, you have all your supplies ready and all this type of stuff, and then just having the time to go to the post office to get rid of it or however you go about it. I mean, it's just like it's a whole big process from some time to time. So it's just like getting used to that is kind of tough too. So it's just like I think the other thing that I'm gonna have to do with it is just pace myself a little bit and make sure that I'm not overextending and being like, yeah, so I'm gonna sell 200 books, or like list up 200 books, and then it's like, yeah, you gotta sell them to 200 separate people. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I don't know. I mean, that's a lot of shipping.
Suddenly you have to ship all that out like by next weekend,
Yeah, exactly. You ship it all out by next weekend, and then it's like, oh, and I mean, and I'm paying shipping on all of that. It's just like, oh, wait a minute, that's a lot of money. Hold on, like maybe I scale it back. Just do like 5 books today. Next week do another 5 and just go from there.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, and then I guess for me, from movies, for 2019, obviously the big ones, Endgame, Star Wars Episode 9 is coming out.
Oh yeah,
Captain Marvel, Shazam looks like it's gonna be fun if nothing else. Aquaman was a lot of fun, so I'm hoping it kind of picks up on that lighthearted nature there. And by the trailer, it really looks like it will. So I think that will be cool. I'm looking forward to Brightburn, James Gunn produced, kind of like it's like Superman from hell, like Superboy, but what if he was evil? It looks really cool.
Hellboy.
Yep, Hellboy. I'm hoping it's good. A lot of people are like, oh my god, it's not Ron Perlman with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's still Hellboy. So
yeah, it looks like. I mean, they did a good job making him up to kind of have the same look as the Perlman Hellboy, but I mean, it's definitely it's kind of tough when you have somebody who did such a good job at it, and it seems like they were perfect for that role. It's just it's the same thing of when you're gonna put somebody into Wolverine after Hugh Jackman. It's just like that's a tall order to fill, but it has to be done. It has to be done if you want to keep that character moving. So
exactly. So okay, cool. We're running up on kind of the end of the show here. It wouldn't be a comic conversation if I didn't give some news, right? I mean, I was doing the news stuff, so a little quick rundown of some things. There is Game of Thrones, a prequel. There's some stuff out for that. Venom sequel is officially in the works. Kelly Marcel is returning to write the script for that, so that's cool. Dune is a go. It's got Dave Bautista attached to it, so that's interesting.
Crazy.
Yeah, right. I don't know if you guys watched Elseworlds with CW.
No, I haven't.
Okay. That was their annual kind of crossover event, minus Black Lightning, of course, and actually minus Legends too.
Yeah, they weren't on there.
Yeah. So Ruby Rose debuted as Batwoman on there. They were in Gotham and stuff. Pretty cool. CW has officially ordered a pilot for that show, so that's coming out. And I guess I'll leave it at that. That's enough. So,
yeah, I mean, we knew that pilot was going to happen.
Yeah. It was kind of like they didn't announce it; they were just kind of waiting to see the reaction for her and stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently, some people were complaining because she wasn't lesbian enough. Whatever.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other story for another show. So this has been a cool, fun way to come back into 2019, debut episode for this year. Mad Cave Studios was with us. Chris talked about some really cool stuff with Battlecats, Knights of the Golden Sun, Honor and Curse. They got some really cool stuff coming out. And I missed one. What did I miss? Oh my god.
The Knights of the Golden Sun, Battlecats. I don't know if there was another title. Was there another
There's
title?
four. There's four total. What am I missing?
I forget what the other one is.
You said Curse?
Yep.
And
Honor and
then
Curse, Knights of the Golden Sun, Battlecats. Oh, Midnight Task Force. That's right. The sci-fi one. Yep.
Yeah.
So definitely check those out, guys. Mo, contact me. Congratulations for winning the giveaway for today. And for in terms of the show, just look out for more fun like this. If you like it, share it with your friends on your social media to help grow the audience here. And we'll do some more interviews. We'll bring in some cool people throughout the year. Edward will be back hopefully next week. And just a lot of really cool things to come for us individually and for the show as well. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here for the first episode of 2019. This is Comic Conversation episode, I don't even know what, 100 and something, right? We've been doing this for a while. Yeah. And we will be back next week. So thanks, guys. Have a good night. And I forgot my catchphrase. It's been a while. Collect what you love. There we go. Collect what you love, and you won't go wrong with that. So there you go. All right. Have a good night, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.